Welcome to my tutorials, and today I've brought something to you. Many people, when they develop academically, they know that something is expected of them, and among the expectations is the improvement in English. Although such people are aware of that, some of them don't know how to achieve it. So I'm bringing to you in my basket one way of improving your English, especially the written one. Why am I saying the written one? Because you can concentrate on it, you can look at the mistakes, you can correct them, you can restructure and the like. So in other words, I'm going to tell you about the advanced sentence structures. Right, maybe before I come to the advanced one, I simply want to show you the types of sentences that we have. Remember, sentences are classified according to different criterion, for instance, according to function and so on. But my focus is according to the structure, right? We have the simple sentences. They are simple, as we are going to find out. Then the complex sentences, the compound sentences, then the compound complex sentences. So these are the ones that I will give you some details about. Right, let's start with the simple sentences. Simple sentences, of course, they are expected to be written by students at lower forms, and as they develop, they are going to Form 4 and so on. They are expected to improve from the simple sentence, but however, the simple sentence is just made up of one independent clause. And basically, this clause contains a subject and a predicate. So, in fact, the simple sentences, we are not saying they are simple not because of their length, but because of what they contain, right? They can be short. An example is, I love my work. Or they can be long. My tall sister and intelligent brother are traveling to a faraway country. It's still a simple sentence. Why? Because although it has got two subjects, but it's still the two subjects in terms of sister and brother, but still it's the subject and then the predicate are traveling to a faraway country. So this is a simple sentence, right? Then, as I was saying, that as you develop, you need to move from the simple and you add something. It becomes complex, showing that you have learned some skills and you are now displaying the skills that you have learned. So a complex sentence contains an independent clause and at least one dependent clause. So an example can be, although she is in problems, she still praises God. So in other words, the dependent clause here is, although she is in problems. You can see that it doesn't make complete sense. Then the independent clause is, she still praises God. So you can see that this one it's an independent clause. In other words, we are saying that it's a standalone. It can be a simple sentence as it is. She still praises God. Full stop, and then it makes sense. Then another example that I can give you of a complex sentence is Clyde, who is happily married, has a baby boy. So in other words, the main clause, or the independent clause has been cut into two parts. As you can see, Clyde is a baby boy. So we have Clyde, and then in between there is a dependent clause, and then part of the independent clause. So in other words, we are saying that he played as a baby boy. It's an independent clause. And then what is at the middle? Who is happily married becomes a dependent clause. So you can see that there you can play around the clauses to put style, to put salt, to put sugar to your sentences, and to show your skill in English. Right, then there are the compound sentences. Compound. So in other words, we are talking of things that are put together. So in other words, we are saying that a compound sentence contains two independent clauses. In other words, we can say that the independent clauses, there are two sentences that are put together. And how can that be achieved? They can be combined by, you can put a semicolon, or you can put a coordinating conjunction, right? The examples are as follows. She completed her studies, but she has no job yet. So in other words, you see that there are two sentences. You can say she completed her studies, and you put a full stop. And you can also say that she has no job yet. It's a full sentence. So in other words, the coordinating conjunction, which is joining these two sentences, is but. Then another example is, I received an invitation letter, and then you put a semicolon, I'll go on Friday. So in other words, you see after the semicolon, there's a capital letter I because it's an I. But normally, let's say it was not an I, then it will start with a small letter. But at the same time, it's one sentence, but can be actually be put into two complete sentences. That's a compound sentence. And then he came late, for he was not feeling well. So the conjunction, the coordinating conjunction there is for. He came late, you can put a full stop, and then he was not feeling well, it's another sentence. So you can see where we have for, we can even put because, and it can still read correctly, like he came late because he was not feeling well. So these are compound sentences. Then we've got the compound complex sentences. So in other words, we are saying that we have a combination of the compounds, that is the two independent clauses, and the complex, which can be one or even two or even many dependent clauses, right? Let me give you examples. Although she is in problems, she still praises God, and many people admire her. So you can see the first part, although she is in problems, is a dependent clause. Then she still praises God. You can see it's a standalone. So this one is an independent clause. Then the last one, many people admire her. So that one is another independent clause. So you can see that the sentence has been joined by a comma, and then we have got the conjunction and. Right? Then let's look at another example. He decided to go back to school, and he sold most of his property despite his large family. So you can see the main clauses or the independent clauses. He decided to go to school because you can put a full stop. Then he sold most of his property, another independent clause. Then despite his large family, this one, it's a dependent clause. As you can see, it doesn't have a complete meaning. Right, this is the end of my presentation, and I am encouraging you to keep on improving your English as you grow academically, not always putting is and there, but not only putting the simple sentences, but expecting something to show that you have learned and you have grasped the skills in sentence writing. Thank you for your time. Remember to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel.